streaming. And we have a green light. Okay, perfect. So welcome everybody to the last edition of the Meetup for 2024. The next Meetup, it's probably going to take place in March from next year, mainly because in January I will personally not organize it. And in February, we will be in Fosdem, which I want to talk to you a little bit about. But before that, some announcements and some reminders that some of you may want to hear about. The first thing is that currently the Advent of Code is taking place. For those of you who do not know, Advent of Code is a small event that takes place at the end of every year in the period of Advent. And there are 25 problems for each day. Every day a new problem gets enabled, it gets publicized, and people can program solutions for those problems. We are doing a small competition or summary or just a joint up solution in Ada. And if you go to the forums, to the Advent of Code 2024 topic, you can see people solving these problems every day and posting their solutions. But they are not only doing this just for fun. There is also one big motive and reason, and that is that Ada Core, just like last year, is once again sponsoring donations based on the number of solutions that are provided to the Advent of Code challenge, to this event. So you can read a little bit about the conditions and what they are doing and what they are trying to achieve with it, but mostly they just want people to post their solutions to this forum thread, which I will add in the minutes of the meeting, so you can find it. And depending on your solution, if it's done in Ada or if it's done in Spark, they will donate either $10 or $20 to the Ada Developers Academy, up to a total of $5,000. If I remember correctly, last year they donated about $2,000, so that was quite a good thing. And this year there are a lot of people that are doing the challenge, and especially I would like to point out that there are newcomers to the forums that are trying the Ada for the first time, or are solving the Advent of Code for the first time in Ada, and they've just joined, and they are also sharing their solutions and learning from the solutions that other people post. So feel free to just come here, take a look at the solutions, share them with others, and you don't have to post your solution the same day a problem becomes online. If you want to, if you haven't done any solutions and you want to go to the first day and start solving them from a few days ago, you can, and you can post them after a few days. So just bringing your attention to the donations that Ada Core are doing based on the solutions that are done for the Advent of Code. The next topic I would like to bring your attention to, this was posted a while ago, but since we didn't have a meetup in November, this wasn't reported back in the day. Gustavo Hoffman made a blog post in the Ada Core blog, pointing out that in the advanced Ada content course, in the learn.adacore.com, in the advanced course, then there have been some improvements. There have been the additions of some chapters, including but not limited to limited types, control types, and also record types. So at the end of this blog post, there is a link to the changelog of the course, where you can see the improvements that have been taking place with this let's say chapter or book or learn.com section. So as you can see, on October we had derived array types and array subtypes, unknown discriminant constraints and operations, and on November we had variant parts. So just pointing this out in case you were missing these topics before, now they are part of the course. And also, as always, this website, the learn.adacore.com, is open source. So if you are studying Ada, using it, or if you find any issues, feel free to contribute back to fixes or typos or improvements to the website. Also, another reminder, and this one is a little bit urgent in case you want to participate, and that is that the third edition of the Create of the Year Award is going to end in a couple of weeks. The last date allowed is the end of the year. So if you want to participate and you still have not submitted your Create to the competition, I would recommend that you do so as soon as possible, please. In case you need a reminder, there are 3 prizes, one for the simple Ada Crate and Ada program, another one for a Spark, so your crate would have to utilize a Spark, and another one for embedded systems. So there are 3 different prizes that you can compete for. So once again, this competition is ending at the end of the year. If you still have not submitted it, please do so. And then more news. FOSDEM. So for those of you, just like last time, for FOSDEM, the Ada group that we are a small group here, and they are all present. They're Cranest, AJ, and myself. We submitted a proposal to have an Ada dev room, and we got approved. So we are going to have a small conference room. Well, not so small. Like 90 people can come and join us. And it's going to take place the morning of Sunday, the 2nd of February. So it's going to be a half a day conference room. We still have to announce the speakers, but we did get quite a few submissions for the dev room. We still have to kind of work out the schedule and how much time we can allow each person to talk for, because if we want to accept everybody, it's going to be a little bit tight on time. But just letting you know, we were accepted. We did get some submissions. Some of them are very interesting, in my opinion, and they cover everything from basically the Ada programming language all the way to projects done in Ada. And there is even a proposal about the difference between Ada and Rust, and I think that's quite kind of interesting. We'll see what we can do with the different proposals. Also, just in case you missed it, I didn't know about this project, but it was posted in Hacker News, and that's this project Prune, which is a 3D printer controller software written in Ada. So I will leave the links in the minutes of the meeting, but in case you want to check it out, this is their main website, and this is the GitHub page with the source code, which is open source, and it's written using, well, Ada, and it uses Alert for dependency management, etc., etc. And finally, before we let AJ show us a small server project, game server project that he has been working on, I would like to bring your attention to the SparkLib. So there was this question done in the forums asking where's SparkLib. SparkLib used to be part of, as far as I remember, of GNAT, the compiler, and it was a set of libraries written in Spark that were formally verified to be correct, and they included vectors, they included maps, etc., etc. But they were taken out of GNAT and moved into the Spark prover, into GNAT proof. So if you want to use it, you have to basically add the SparkLib GPR to your project. If you would like to know more information, as Christina Unga points out, just go into the docs, and here it explains the different libraries that are available, and you can see it has container libraries, lemmas, higher order functions, input and outputs, strings, and even C strings are also formally verified with these libraries. So this is also very cool in case you wanted to to use Spark more in your projects, but you were kind of feeling limited by the availability of libraries in Spark, just know that Spark itself, cannot prove the tool, brings a ton of functionality with it. For example, in the formal containers, and as far as I know, yes, here, let me zoom in so you can see it better. You have vectors, doubly linked list, hash sets, order sets, hash maps, and ordered maps. Also, these are the defined size, let's say, containers, but you have the unbounded ones in case you would like to have arbitrarily growing or shrinking datasets. So that's it for the announcements. That's it for the reminders. Especially the biggest reminder is the Creator of the Year award and the Advent of Code in case you want to participate and also help with the donations that Adacore is going to do. And I think some people want to share, do something. There was someone who wanted to say something. Oh, the camera. Okay, I was not sharing my screen. If this happens, please just tell me. Sorry for that. Sorry, you've been watching my face constantly and you have not seen anything. Sorry for that. My mistake. Okay, so just as a quick repeat, yes, I was showing the different websites with the information, but basically the Advent of Code one. Here is the announcement. You will have the links all available once again in the minutes of the meetings from Adacore, defining the prerequisites and the amount of money they are going to donate with the solutions that you share with your solution that they will give because of the solutions that we provide to the Advent of Code. Here's the thread to submit the solutions. Here is the blog post from Ada about learn.adacore.com.
We're still seeing black screen.
Oh, my screen has already been shared, so if you can't see,
I think it's just showing your the Jitsi meeting, so you might need to show a different window.
But we did see your screen.
I
saw your screen a minute ago.
Let me.
Okay.
I'm sharing the full screen, not just the program. So, can you see it now?
I see the Jitsi window with
yes.
your.
And now, if I change,
everybody's now. I see the tabs. Yep.
Okay. Sorry about these technical issues, everybody. So this was the announcement in the adacore.blog about the improvements in learn.adacore.com, which link to here at the bottom, they link to the changelog, which you can see the improvements that have been taking place for each month, basically. And they've added some of the more, in my humble opinion, important parts of Ada, which include limited types, control types, discriminants, derive array types and array subtypes, and variant parts. So you can see here how the Learn website is evolving and improving. Also, the Creator of the Year award. Here's the announcement. Once again, the links will be available for everybody. If you have not submitted it, please submit it. Once again, here in the prizes, there are the 3 sections that you can participate for. FOSDEM. This is the main website. Basically, I'm not really showing anything in particular here. This is Prune, the motion controller written in Ada. Once again, you don't have to copy the link. I will make sure this is nicely formatted in the forums. But here's the source code for which in which Prune is based on, which is used in live. And as I was pointing out, the Spark Lib, and this was pointed by Christina Hunga, how to set it up so that in your Spark projects you can use the Spark Lib, the entire Spark library set. And she links the docs, which I recommend people take a look at. And here you can see the main containers it brings to. I think containers are the main libraries that people tend to use. That's why I'm pointing them out. But there are others like big numbers, like functional containers, lemmas, higher order function libraries, string libraries, and string interfaces, which are also quite important. And cut operations, those are very useful sometimes. but mainly the formal verification, formally verified libraries include vectors, linked lists, hash sets, order sets, hash maps, order maps, and their unbounded counterparts. So in case you don't know their size at compile time or when they are created. So those were the announcements. Sorry, everybody. I thought I forgot to share my screen. And that's about everything from my side. I now would like to tell AJ if he wants to share his project that he has been working on, which he may want to show us. You're mute, AJ, in case you're speaking.
Yes, I am. Okay, so yeah, so I've been, this is kind of a precursor to something else I'm doing in Ada. So I'm working on, with some friends, we're trying to create an MMORPG, and the server is going to be written in Ada. And I was working on the login server and stuff like that. And the client is probably going to be using Game Maker Studio from Yo-Yo Games. And we're basically trying to test to see how well like WebSockets work with Ada web server, and trying to use like with the login server. And this is more like just a proof of concept to see if I could create like an online game in Ada. So that's kind of how it works. The server is written in Ada and the client is written with Game Maker Studio. And if I could just figure out how to share my screen, I could show you what it looks like real quick.
Go ahead.
Let's see here. It's been a few minutes. One second. Here we go. I think this should work. All right. You should see a new incognito window, I hope. And
I'm currently seeing a black window.
yep, okay. Hold on a second.
I'm seeing the incognito window.
Do you see it? Okay, let me share my main screen. This might make it a little easier. Okay. So let me go ahead and click this. So this is the game. Again, very simple. I'm purposely using silly graphics and everything. The URL run around and you hit the space bar to attack, I think. And yeah, you just run around and attack other players. It's multiplayer, so if I open this up in a new tab and do it again, I can pick paper and I can run around and find myself and attack. There I am. And then when I attack, since paper beats scissors, I actually won. So then if I go back in as rock, I can run up and get a point. And you just have to tap the arrow keys to move around, and the space bar is attack. And then you're just booted back to the main screen. So if anybody wanted to try that, I just put a link. The server is sometimes on, sometimes off. There's something that keeps crashing somewhere, and I'm not sure where. I haven't taken the time to do anything to catch that exception. But yeah, you can see it looks like somebody else just joined, and they'll be running around in the server. There's somebody who's paper, and if they move around, yeah, they can see me. So that's the game. Yep, there's another rock. And if we both attack each other, then we both lose. And somebody just got kicked back out. So again, made with Game Maker. If I can kind of show you what that looks like in Game Maker and in Ada. So the Ada part will make more sense after I show the Game Maker part. Let me see here. So again, the only reason we're using GameMaker Studio instead of like Ada with SDL or something is because the person I'm working with is more familiar with GameMaker, and you can very quickly just get something up. You basically have to, like a lot of it is, it's like this scripting, JSON like scripting language. You have to, so I basically have like this controller that's getting everything and sending up to a queue, and then I have this network send, which is just sending all the data from the client state to the server. And I'm receiving the data through this async step. So it's basically keeps an async connection to the server over a WebSocket. And once the WebSocket it receives the data, it's just taking all of the data from the Ada server and rendering it to the screen. It's doing like a full snapshot of the entire server every time, like every step. So that's kind of how you get the real-time updates like that. And it's such a little amount of data, then it doesn't really matter how much is being sent. But on the Ada side, um, I'm doing a couple things. I'm using Ada Web Server. Let me see if I can find it here. So I'm using Ada Web Server for both of this. In the actual, like on the production MMO I'm working on, I'm probably going to use simple components. But the Ada Web Server is essentially, it's just loading up. I'm creating some WebSockets. So there's a WebSocket -play. There's some callbacks for a /connect. Again, these are the WebSockets. And then I'm just batching if they just view the website. And I have a little console here that literally just takes the command Q and then exits if you hit Q. But if you connect to the game, it basically loads up everything. So there's a directory here with the actual game stuff. And I think that's under MMORPS. Yeah, so GameMaker Studio, the other thing was GameMaker, you can export as an HTML5 application. So that's that's one of the other reasons we're using GameMaker. It's easy to create a game and then publish it as an HTML5 app so you can play it in the browser. So that's all this is we have, if you load the page, it loads the content as HTML and loads that directory. So that's really nothing special going on over there. We have, if it's the post, so let me see here. Yeah, so we have what GameMaker does is GameMaker connects to the URL and then sends a post request with the name and the character and ID. Client ID is pulled from the post request. It's just a randomly generated string. Client name is the name that you selected, and choice is a enumeration of whether you're picking rock, paper, or scissors, essentially. So what GameMaker is doing is it's making a post to the server saying, hey, I'm making an HTTP post. Here's the name, here's the character, and here's the ID. And then it just it does a little bit of some verification. And if it doesn't work out here, it returns a 404 or 400. Then it goes and creates this token to send to the client that basically it validates the client. And then I have this library CrypTools. It's basically just a wrapper that I wrote for a bunch of other crypto-related protocols, so I can quickly do things like sign payloads with certificates and sign strings, and then open those signed strings. In the back end, it's using Spark NatCL, and I think it's using a couple other things. But I'm doing it to, as you can see, I have a hashing algorithm here. I have things to quickly convert things to base64 string and back. And I have some helper functions to convert between element arrays and SparkCL byte sequences. So all that's doing. So I'm saying, okay, I'm creating a new payload that I'm going to send to the GameMaker client. it's just going to be a base64 string, but in that string, I'm containing all of this information. I'm including a timeout. I'm including what the client ID is, their IP address, what choice they said, and this is just validating it back to the client because the client doesn't have the private key that the server has, so the client can't forge a valid login request to the server. So it's basically signing this payload to say, okay, here's your information, their one-time code to use to connect to me, and then it sends it off to the client. So then when the client actually connects, and I think that goes through, let's see, I think that's in the game section. Let's see. Sockets. I haven't touched this for a little bit, so bear with me. I think this might actually just handle, let's see. Okay, yeah, this might just be the web side. So let's see if I can find the WebSocket side. So let's see here. It's registering connect with this. Let's just do this. Oh, it's in here. All right, so, okay, yeah, I think this is actually, yeah, this is just the connect. It might be play. Yeah, okay, so so it's under game. So these are the WebSocket ones, these are the URI ones. So this is if they're, connecting to the website itself over HTTP, and then this is if they're under game, it's going into WebSocket. So let's just go to this one here. So the game side, I'm basically, there's a lot of things commented out because I was experimenting with different things, but this is basically running the game round. When you connect to the first time, as you can see, it's just dispatching this thing here with object WebSocket create. It's creating a bunch of sockets in a queue, and this is all just using the Ada web server's WebSocket system. So there's not doing anything special in here. Creating the WebSocket, and then if they're logged in, so I think I probably defined this somewhere here. Yeah, here's the WebSocket object. So this is the object that's derived from the WebSocket. It also keeps track of if they're logged in, what their last message was, their next message, keeping like time information, the player ID, and whether the player has died or not. And I'm iterating over through all that, and I'm keeping track of these players in the game. So, I have a round, so it's like, you basically, the game loop is, I have this game world, which is a protected object, which just contains all of this information on, modifying the world. So if, it detects a player moves, it just uses the protected object to get their XY and move it around. And there's changes made, just checks to see if the world has actually made a change. And if it does, then in the main game loop, it sends it off to the actual player, or each player that is connected to the server. So constantly the server is listening for sockets. It's listening for moves. So the player sends different commands, and you can see on message, it's literally just sending strings up and down, and it's just checking to see what the string is. So it's like, um, if it's M, so if they sent the M character, if GameMaker sent M to the server, then it moves. Okay, which direction does it move? Does it move? If it's U, it moves down, up. If it's D, it moves down. So GameMaker is just sending like MD off to the server, and the server is then, parsing that out. Okay, which player is it? And everything is signed, so it makes sure that you can't forge a packet for another player to the server because this doesn't we have that token in there that it's keeping track of, and it's like, oh, that's not you know the correct token. So Let's see here. Yeah, we have on open, and there's just a bunch of stuff in here. But if I could, let's do, yeah, so here's the actual, the round task, which is just kind of running. And if nobody's playing, then the round just stops. And then it's waiting until start round. So one of these sockets check if nobody's playing and then pushes to actually start the round once somebody starts playing. And then, it's just, it runs every certain amount of ticks. And then it, is just checking to see if there's anything that's happened. And um, if it does, then, it basically creates a static copy of the map and sends off that snapshot of the map at that time to the player. So it's not iterating the live lab map. It's just, catching the next version of that map and then iterating through every connection that doesn't have an empty player, which is a constant of a player with no value. And as you can see, null unbound string, ID is 0, XY is 0, everything. So anything that's not an empty player, it jumps through and, sends more data off to the client. And then, it iterates through the list and it sends that off. You can ignore all of this stuff. But that's basically how it works. And yeah, the map, very, very simple. It's literally just a bit field of what locations the player can or cannot move. This is to quickly check and see if there's an obstacle in the way. And of course, in the actual game, it checks to see if there's another player at that location too. But you can see there's, you have the player container and it contains this, and we have like a coordinate system where you can store the XY of the player. And something that's really saved me a lot is I have a tendency of when doing sending in moves, I have X range and Y range as their own specific data types. And I sometimes, when I was writing this, I would actually say player map move, and then I would say X and Y instead of Y and X. And, it's just kind of on me doing that. But it will not compile because it will say, hey, this takes an object of type X range, but you're sending an object of type Y range. And I'm like, oh, that's right, I mistyped. And I got back out of there. But yeah, that's the game I was kind of wrote as a proof of concept. If you are interested in the CrypTools library that I wrote, or it's more of a wrapper, I will post it in the chat. It's it's literally just to make my own life easier. I'm not like actively supporting it and trying to publish it anywhere. It's not in the Allure index. You can get it through Allure, which is what I do. I just link it directly in my toml.config. But you can read it and read why I made it and stuff. It's really just it's got a random number generator. It's a true random number generator. It's using another Ada library. It allows password hashing through a different Ada library, and then it has the functionality for creating private and public keys and signing things with them and stuff. You can check the tests folder to look for actual implementation of what I'm doing and how it works and stuff like that. And of course, it also allows just quick and dirty conversions between element array types. So I can play around with Ada web server and everything. But as you can see, it's just doing some basic public key signing and stuff, and some helpful password hashing. In my main login server for the game I'm working on, the actual MMO, that's also an HTTP server. And basically, the player sends the username and password over HTTPS to the login server, and the login server accepts that and then stores it in I think it's It's not a MySQL database. It's another database, but it's a SQL database, and it uses Ada's, I think, GNAT Col SQL library to do that. And what's I really like about doing SQL in Ada is that you're literally building out the SQL statements in Ada, and you have all of the validation and stuff like that you would get in normal true Ada. It's super cool, and I can talk about that someday whenever I get that more functional. But what that basically does is there's two apps. One's a login server where you send the data and you get a token that's been generated, and you also get like a one-time code which gets sent back to them. And then the server takes that and then connects to the game server and sends it the data and says, hey, I was just authenticated by this login server. And assuming the one-time code did not expire yet, the game server then takes that and logs the player in and looks up the SQL data based on what their player ID was provided and stuff like that. So that's kind of what I've been working on. Anybody have any questions?
Oh, I got one. So I noticed that in your code that you had Pragma Ada 2022. I was curious what features that you are using a lot of that you find useful.
Yeah. So my favorite thing about Ada 2022 is the ability to filter arrays. And so really quickly, I'll just share my screen again and show you what I meant. Let's see here. So stuff like this actually, so where you have for I of player map when I does not equal empty player, you can do, I think that's an Ada 2022 feature, this part here. And normally I would have to do I equals player map loop, and then I could say, if I does not equal empty player, then, and then drop it in there. But since I can just drop that directly in here, I don't have to worry about that. And I might be initializing, yeah, I can, I think you can do some of this in Ada, but I really like the advanced aggregates. So I'm like, player map, if list length equals 0, I'm just clearing out the player map by literally saying player map equals, and then I'm using an array aggregate here, others equals empty player. And what that's doing is that's just filling the entire map with the empty player value. And I do like little weird things like that some places and such, but that's mostly what I'm using it for, is just the array stuff that Ada 2022 gives me to mess around with. And I found lots and lots of bugs, array related compiler bugs, because I mess around with this stuff so much. And I just recently submitted a bug report because there was something that I wanted to do where I could just have a one-liner that and it made it so much quicker and so much more efficient, and I couldn't do it because of a compiler bug. And I think they just recently fixed that compiler bug, so I might have added it back in here. I don't actually, it might have been this, but yeah, that's mostly what I'm using it for, is stuff like that. I haven't really taken advantage of the imaging and stuff like that of custom strings and stuff. But what I did take advantage of that for the currency library, the cache CASHE. So you can do one of your money types and just say image, and it goes and it prints the money that you have with your own currency symbols and everything like that. But I mostly just use the Ada 2022 stuff for the array related things, and for filtering on for loops, which is, I feel like, a killer feature for me. But yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. Any other questions? Cool. Thanks, everyone.
So thank you, AJ, for your introduction, your showcase. Also, I noticed you were using the @ symbol for self-referential data. So when you want in C, you can do I++ to say, hey, I increase your own value +1. In Ada, we couldn't do that, but thanks to the @ symbol, those kinds of expressions have become a lot simpler to write, especially when the data name, the variable name is pretty long. So I noticed that also and that's an Ada 2022 feature. Yeah, exactly what AJ just posted. So there are no more topics today. There was Charlie, so Rod K was going to showcase some of his work he has been doing in the Ironclad kernel, trying to port a driver, a networking driver for the Ironclad kernel. Sadly, he couldn't make it today in the end, so we won't have that today. I announced it a while ago, but he just got to me like an hour ago telling me that he couldn't make it, so we won't have his introduction. But I can tell you that a couple of people are working on adding the E1000, I believe, driver to the Ironclad kernel, so that Ironclad can gain some networking capabilities. It had like an IP stack and everything, but it couldn't, let's say, utilize it in real life. It was mostly just to allow some programs to compile correctly, such as Coral and other well-known networking programs, but they were kind of useless in a way. They are useful, of course, that's why they added them, but without a network driver, an actual working network driver, that was just not possible. And the reason they added the E1000, I believe, once again, I believe that's the name, it's because it's the driver that QEMU emulates. So as most of the development and testing of Ironclad and GRAR, the distribution of Ironclad, it's taking place in QEMU. Adding the driver that QEMU already has for networking would allow it to be developed and used in real world situations. So there were some comments about it. E1000E, as Luke says. Alexis asks if the code for the server is public. Yes, it's in, but I don't have the URL right now, like bookmarked or anything. It's Charlie5, so Rodk's Codeberg Git account, but I don't actually know if Luke. Okay, Luke is going to search for it, so he will post it. And that's about it. Once again, on February and on January we won't have an Ada meetup, but on February hopefully some of us will be meeting up in Brussels for FOSDEM, which we hope it's a good addition. It's a good event for everybody. It's good for the Ada community. If you cannot attend, of course, just know that the talks will be recorded and will be made public. It will take some time after the conference, but everything will be made public. Yes, Dirk?
They are not only recorded, but they are streamed as well. So people who can't make it at the meeting, they can watch online to the presentations of FOSDEM. Yeah.
True. And I see AJ is asking whether we want to discuss the room after the meeting. And yes, AJ and Dirk, if you can stay for like a couple more minutes after the meeting, I would like to discuss the submissions with you.
Okay.
But that's everything for today that I had more or less prepared. And once again, sorry for the technical issue that I caused by not sharing my screen. If anybody has any comments, any announcements, recommendations, or anything, feel free to take the floor.
Maybe a small announcement. We had the Ada Developer Workshop in the Ada Europe Conference in June. I'm pleased to announce that the informal proceedings will be available in the September issue of the Ada User Journal, which is still has to be printed, but it's forthcoming. We have complete small proceedings for all the presentations.
True.
Okay.
True. I forgot about that. Thank you, Derek. Yes, Ramon?
Hi, Alexis here.
Hi, Alexis.
Do you know what's going on with John Barnes' book? I have received no notification of the payment or anything.
Oh, good question. I did receive a notification of payment in November, late November, but I have not received the book yet, so I can't say much more than that. If you allow me 3 seconds, I can search for the email, the confirmation email I received, but I did not receive any more information. Dirk, do you have any more information on John Barnes' book?
Well, I don't know exactly. I wasn't at the previous meetup, so I'm not sure what is known publicly about the book. His book was already completely ready early this year in March or something, but apparently Cambridge University Press had some hacking going on and had lots of problems with their publication. So the book is finally available since end of November, apparently. Can be ordered, but I have no information on how fast delivery is. One other remark I wanted to make is I hope that everyone who wants to order the book knows that they can order it with a 20% discount, which was announced at the Ada Europe conference in June in Barcelona. I don't know whether this is
I got the discount
knowledge.
thanks to Fernando.
Okay.
So
I think I cannot make this very public, but in a small community like this, it can be said.
Yeah.
If you would like more information about the discount, just message us.
Yeah, just ask us.
But I did receive the invoice for. I just looked it up in my emails. On the 22nd of November, I received the invoice for the payment for the pre-order that I did of the book. So take a look at it, and if you didn't receive if you did create a pre-order, you should have received an email just the moment you created the pre-order telling you that you did the pre-order. If you didn't receive an automatic email the same day you did the pre-order, maybe the pre-order was not done correctly. I did not get the payment. I did not get the charge that same day.
I wrote to Cambridge and they confirmed that the pre-order was there, but I haven't received anything else.
Oh, then
have to wait a bit more.
Maybe I don't know then.
Yeah, my last notice I got is mine will be delivered in January sometime.
Okay, then maybe they are very late with the shipments. So and Rombob, would you like to turn on your mic and make the announcement about AWS and Fedora, or would you like to type it down in the chat? If you are speaking, you're muted. We cannot hear you. Okay. Then if you want to type it into the chat, the announcement, feel free, and I can voice it out. Another thing that we can talk about, which was posted yesterday, as some of you may know, Jeffrey is the creator of the Pragma. Let me share my screen so that you can all see it, like before. Okay, you should be able to see my screen now. If you don't, please just
I can see
say
it.
as you know, Jeffrey is the creator of the Pragma Ada reusable components library. And in the CLA, so in the Usenet network, he used to make an announcement every 6 odd months to remind people, especially new people, that this library existed in case people wanted to use some of its features. And he posted it in the forums. And Jeremy, the main administrator, and Paul, who's also an admin, chimed into whether it would be nice to have like continuous or useful announcements of libraries. I also did give out my opinion. I think it would be nice if people just voice their opinion, having like recurrent announcements of libraries or features. Because one thing that Paul said, and I agree with, is that Ada has a bit of an issue in terms of the discoverability of features that the libraries in the ecosystem have and that people may need. So there is a bit of pros and cons towards having announcements of this kind, because these kinds of announcements tend to be somewhat empty, but then again, they may be helpful to people. So if you have an opinion about it, please feel free to jump into the conversation and voice it out. Also, in case you didn't know, I just saw it. The user Steve Lip did a couple of days ago an introduction to Ada online, also using Jitsi. I couldn't attend because it was very late for me. It was 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, New York time. And yeah, it was organized by him and the user group, in which I believe he probably participates. And it was a non-Ada event. It was just him talking about Ada to people that may have been interested may have some interest into the language. The Go Look here, the Greater Orlando Linux Users Group. That was the group he gave the talk to. It was online. It was open to the public. In case you wanted to join, you could have. And I think it's kind of good that we have people doing these kinds of things. As I said, going out into the wider programming world and not just staying in the Ada silos and bubbles, and just voicing out the Ada's features towards the people. Because once again, I think Ada, as everybody here, we all believe that it's a great language that should be shared more. So that's something I also wanted to mention. I think it was a great thing. And yeah, those are things that I just remembered.
Has there been any more news? What's occurred to you? I forgot the name. Is it the Ada General Users Group, or I forgot what that new organization is?
Yes, as far as I know, there have been no other new official announcements about the new Ada User Society. As far as I know, until February, there will be most likely nothing or very little. So right now, things are just calm, let's say.
Maybe just a small mention that the people in the group and around the group are mainly focusing now on what the ISO standardization people are doing, and to ensure that over time Ada can remain an ISO standard. And for that to be possible, we will need people like the people who are doing it now. They are all getting older, so we're looking for a transition to people to take over. That's one aspect, and the other aspect is to keep Ada under the control of the Ada community, so that the whole community, both users and companies using it, have an input in the future evolution of Ada. And for that reason, there has been a plan proposed to WG9, and at a recent meeting last week, that plan was accepted and approved by WG9. So that is what is going on behind the scenes. And as you said, most probably by early next year, there will be probably some announcements on what is public about this. That proposal is all available in the documents part of the WG9 website. If people are interested, I can try to find the, just a second. Yeah, sorry, I thought I had a tab open with this, and I have so many tabs that I can't find it now. Please go on. If there's something else, I'll retrieve the URL and then put it in the chat. Okay, I'll do that in a minute.
Thanks, Dirk. Are there any more topics that you would like to discuss? Okay, so Dirk just posted that. Oh, here you are.
Yeah. So in there you see lots of documents, and there are a few documents saying one is general principles document, which, as the name says, are general things, and then last week the plan for implementing general principles was accepted at the meeting. So if you want a bit more information on what is going on, you can read it there. Okay. That's it.
Thank you, Dirk. Then, if there are no more topics or questions, then I would say that we can finish the meetup. It has been more or less 1 hour, so perfect time. And then again, if AJ and Dirk, you could stay for a few more minutes to talk about Postdem, that would be wonderful. Then thank you everybody for coming today, for joining us. You will have all the links I showed and the links that were posted as part of the minutes of the meeting, which I will write in a short while, in the same thread as the announcement for the meetup. So thank you everybody.
Oh, thank you.
Ciao.
See you next time. Bye.
Thank you.
All right.
Goodbye, everybody.
Bye.